point. Mandatory and optional grids. Let me just quickly touch base on this. I know I'm running out of time, but these two I specifically added a little bit lower on the screen. You're not going to see that one necessarily now, but this is maybe just a note. We had the discussion just now before the demo as well on this, but within grids, you actually have this ability to add extra text. That extra text doesn't add any value to a user who gets the visual cues. You don't actually see a lot of that information. But we are giving users that make use of the accessibility mode a little bit of extra attention here. And the reason for that is grids are complex to navigate with screen readers. So bear in mind that if you specifically want to make this optimal for screen readers, put in that extra effort and on your grid specifically provide that extra information on the controls so that this extra piece of text is read. You won't see it, but the moment you put it through a screen reader, you will actually get that. It also then, that kind of gives you a way to also give a cue to the user as to whether the information within the grid is optional or mandatory, etc. So any sort of cue can be given like that. Then the last one, again, this is not specific to accessibility, but placeholder text. You're going to see that in a moment as well. Placeholder text allows you to save space by putting in pieces of text within the edit boxes or long edit boxes, as long as there's not values populated already. So yes, that already adds value to users that does not make use of accessibility mode. But the nice thing about this is that it does actually get read out by screen readers as well. And at some point, we actually missed a couple of these in our development. And then Michael said, but why did you do this here and not at other areas? So we ended up doing this, consistently in the edit boxes, the placeholder text. Right, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to quickly show you the MOU in action. Okay, sorry, let me just jump to the MOU. I'm already logged in, but I'm going to log out and I'm going to switch off my screen reader mode at this point. Just grab my student again here. Okay, there we go. So not in screen reader mode at this stage. I'm going to jump into this MOU. Currently there's a form that's pending, and this is what I mentioned. This is a big form with lots of group boxes and lots of information to be completed within this. So just some things that I'm going to draw your attention to that we just spoke about. Let's look at something like funding. Sorry, look at the long edit box down here. The moment I removed the value out of that, it actually gave me like a piece of instruction text or example within this. So the moment you start typing, it goes away. This is read by the screen reader. Now, again, that's quite straightforward. But the second thing is you'll see that all of these group boxes were actually collapsed. And the third thing I want to draw your attention to lies in the fact that there's no save buttons below these funding items, because for a user that actually does not make use of accessibility mode, that really would be too cloggy, but it's invaluable to a user that makes use of screen reader mode for all of this. Nice, what did I miss? Was there something else I wanted to show in the MOU form? I'm sure there's another bit on here. Let's see, expanded, save and close, help button positions. Yes, help button positions over there. Okay, so let's log out. Yes.
Just the grids, if we expand the supervisor details for the thesis information.
Yes.
The grid, there will be instructions on the grid that you can't see at this stage. So if you go up.
Yes, it is.
There. So by the supervisor details, so you'll see the type of supervisor ID in the display name. So from a visual perspective, it's quite obvious. If you click on it, there is a chevron on the right, so it shows that it is clickable. You kind of have an idea of what you need to do there. There is on the grid, there is instructional text, but for a person that uses the system visually, that is of no use. So it's also PeopleSoft doesn't render it. But once Ruan does the explanation or goes through the screen reader mode, you'll hear the screen reader actually read out that text.
Perfect. Thanks, Andrew. Right. So let's log out. I need to log out to get into screen reader mode. And we are going to, again, log in as the, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to click just for the sake of time. There we go. Enable my screen reader mode. Move on to the MOU, and you'll see that immediately things are now different because it's not expecting me to actually interact with this through visual cues. First thing that you'll notice, look at all these group boxes. They're all expanded by default. So I don't need to explicitly go and expand all of them. Point number one. Point number two is look at all the save buttons. They are everywhere. So the moment I change something, I can easily find a save button to save my work instead of running all the way to the top. You see there at the top, the save button. So much better in that regard. Right, then, Andrew, what is the other thing? help buttons, I mean, that's all the same really. So let's quickly jump into screen reader mode here. Where's the grid that you said to give the example?
A few grids. There is one for the attached files and then supervisor.
Okay, so let's enable this.
Welcome to VoiceOver.
And
VoiceOver on Safari. Heading level 2, upload thesis proposal document, 1 row. You are currently on table, 5 columns, 2 rows, date, column add, view, delete row 2 update, link,
sorry, I'm
link,
specifically
upload
jumping to
thesis
something
proposal
here.
end of table, attach, save button.
There's my save.
You are
Thank
currently heading level 2, supervisor details, star is your supervisor or UCT staff member. Yes, it's star any co-supervisors. No, any heading level 2, supervisor information. You are currently on a heading level 2. Table, 5 columns, 2 rows. You are currently on a cell inside of a table. To navigate the cells within this table, press Control, Option Supervisor ID, column 2 of 5. You are currently on a text element inside of a cell.
I'm going to skip over this one, but it's supposed to, on this table, it might be on a different one. It's supposed to just read out that extra bit of information there. Then the next thing, I'm just going to, let's jump down to a
link, say, heading level 2, heading, are you aware of a star student? You are currently
student.
Yes, student required, pop-up button, help button. And
then the help button. So immediately I know that the help button relates to what I just heard and not the other way around. Okay. Okay, so I realize that I'm far beyond my time at this point. We are very passionate at this stage to share because we had a lot of fun after all the struggle. So I'm going to disable voiceover mode, and I'm going to open just the floor for comments and questions, and happy to take the discussion further if you want.
And once again, if anyone has forgotten or didn't know, you can submit a question via text to Ruhan and the rest of the Ruxus team via that little icon on your screen that is a sort of a speech bubble with a question mark inside. And I have to say, by the way, while we're waiting for perhaps anyone to type, thank you, Ruhan. This has been really interesting. As I said before, I'm really passionate about accessibility and love to see more people utilizing this functionality. So thanks for sharing this.
Thanks very much, Eve.
I am not seeing any questions yet. It could be that people are still typing. I will have to end the session here in just a moment. As soon as this session is done, I'm going to pop into spatial chat. We're doing our European time zones, but also African time zones, sort of social hour. So if anyone wants to come over there, if you have questions that you'd like to ask Ruhan, I don't know if you have time to pop in. But everyone is welcome to just come in and say hello. I do actually have a question here, I see. Oh, there are a couple of questions.
Let's see.
Let's see, Ruhan, I'm going to make these visible to you, but I can also read them aloud if you would like.
Sure.
Okay, the first question is from Narsareddy, who says, are disability service units common in universities in South Africa? I don't think we have separate units that focus on serving students with disabilities here in the US. At least I am not aware of such units. What are some of the page field elements or people code functions that you used on custom pages for to implement accessibility?
Okay, so there's two questions. I think we can tackle both of those. Yes, that does seem to be something common in South Africa. We do have specific disability units that support these students, well, with all kinds of disabilities throughout the student life cycle.
Yes, so it's not just for blind students, so it would be ensuring that the campuses are accessible for people in wheelchairs. It's people that are there for the translation services. So, but yeah, as far as I know, all the main universities in South Africa all have some form of unit that deals with the disability students.
Yes, yes. Then, in terms of the second question there, I can actually share that, but you're welcome to mail me afterwards and I can give you some of the code as well. But it's actually in the FitGap document that we did for UCT. So I'm going to quickly scroll up here. We did a bit of an extract here for the client. Andrew, I think you put it in. There we go. So you actually, in your people code, you just do this determination. So you just determine whether you're in accessibility mode or whether you're not in accessibility mode. And based on that, you can make certain elements visible or non-visible. Now, bear in mind, there are some general guidelines you need to adhere to. So, I mean, things like tab orders and control direction, that's not only important, it obviously just almost gets emphasized the moment you use screen reader modes, but that's really something you should be doing in any case. You know, there's certain guidelines you should really be following in any case. But if you want to go that extra mile, there you go. So there's a way to definitely make that distinction. Now, I have to also tell you that if you go this extra mile, and that is what was actually requested specifically for this project, it does add on a little bit to the project time. It certainly does, and I think everyone would understand that. Now, if you don't go the extra mile, the good thing is if you just stick to the normal standard good practices of any PeopleSoft developer, then you've already got a workable solution. We just, again, like I say, we just did that little bit of extra specifically in this project.
In terms of the question with the fields that was used, we did pick up something that if you have a date field on a form and it's not set to a date on the fluid tab of that control on the page, or when you're editing the page, it is a little bit difficult for screen readers to read the Oracle PeopleSoft datetime or date picker, where if you switch that to an actual date field, so you try on the fluid tab, you just change it to the text type as a date. That becomes much easier for the screen readers to actually navigate through. And Michael also preferred that. So that was something that we did here. So we had a look for visual users. We kept it on the stock standard date picker. But if you are in accessibility mode, we switched it over so that it's the easier one for them to actually use.
That's very useful. Thanks, Andrew.
And Ruhan, I don't know if you saw, this isn't necessarily a question, but it is a very nice comment. Hi, Ruhan. I would love to connect with you and work with you on how you can make, how we can make people tools more accessible. From Oracle, Sasank.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Thank you.
And also, I don't know if you saw the comment from Narsareddy, but thank you. Great presentation.
Oh, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thanks for attending, everyone.
So yes, and once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Ruhan. This was a great presentation. I will be in spatial chat if anyone wants to chat. Everyone else is welcome. And otherwise, once again, thank you, Rex's team. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Eve. Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye.
Bye.